some things that might be, jumping out at you or springing to mind. I guess we just open it up here, and Nate and I are really going to kind of popcorn back and forth today and ham and egg this with everyone that's here. And one of the reasons we're doing this is, taking a look at the 5-6 building, the 7-8 building, really trying to begin to conceptualize this notion of a middle level learner, right? These students who come to us 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and really conceptualizing what that middle level learning might look like. So we'll open it up at this point. What are some things? Yeah.
Is it possible that you're not going to observe everything, and therefore, what do you do if I'm looking at relationship with students, okay?
Sure.
And if I look at highly effective and I look at minimally effective, boy, it hurts my heart to think that you say I can take a genuine interest in our student, and I really do. But anyhow, you might not see the highly effective in any given situation. So if you don't observe that, what do you do with that? I'm just curious.
Well, I think that's a very fair question. If we're in an instructional lesson on a formal observation, right, for 40 minutes, I think there would be an expectation we would probably see, some relationship building going on with students during that 40-minute lesson. Now, it might be that we're popping in for a couple minutes on a walkthrough where we might not necessarily see that. So I think it's a very fair question. I think overall, though, when you do look at the rubric, within that formal evaluation at the end of the year, we take a look at all those components and try and make a judgment, make that decision. What have we seen over the balance of the work? What have we seen here in the rubric? And this is, again, this is intended as an opportunity for us to come together and have those discussions about, practice. It's not necessarily intended as any sort of a gotcha. And so this is where I think if there's something that we maybe don't see, we talk about that. And then we have those discussions and look for that, again, as a future together, ways we can grow. And it's about growth for all of us, I think. So thank you. Hey, Kelsey.
In regards to the walkthroughs, is anything recorded or kept when it comes to the feedback that you receive from those walkthroughs? Or is it just kind of feedback for the moment and then out the window, not out the window, you know what I mean, but it's not kept documented?
Right.
Yeah, if it's ever going to be used in an evaluative or any fashion like that, there'll be a note, but it'll also be a meeting. We'll talk about it ahead of time. There won't be anything, and then I was just talking with some of the other tables. It's not like you get all this information and you've done 7 walkthroughs and you're just loading. As an evaluator, you're not just loading your gun or whatever. I mean, I know those fears and those things are in our hearts at times. Well, if there's something that we see that maybe could be improved or a growth opportunity or something that we want to praise you for, yeah, we got to document it. I mean, there should be as much praise as there is opportunities to grow. I wonder is opportunities for us to grow. I mean, but to be used in an evaluation, I know for me, I'd want to know. I'd want to know then that hey, there's an issue. Don't tell me 3 months later that there was an issue, and then just little 3 months. I'd want to know right away, and say, okay, all right, yep, and maybe it's uncomfortable, but yeah, okay, I'll try, yep, to help learn and grow. I mean, we're growing together, and so then okay, and then follow up next time. I noticed that you're using that strategy. I mean, that's how you want it to go. We want to get better as professionals. We don't.
Well, and on the other side of that, if you do notice something that is a positive, just for example, under planning for and delivery of rigorous content, teacher provides students with multiple parallel activities. If within that 40 minutes you don't necessarily see many different activities, are you going to be able to go back and say, well, I do remember the walkthrough, I saw this, I saw this. Is that going to be a part of it?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. and this is, maybe this is for the staff, if I leave a note, I take a picture of it, and that way we have the dialogue about in the future, or even for myself, if I walk into your room and I want to give you a highlight, or just encourage you to keep going with that strategy, I have to remember too, you know, I mean, it's helpful for me, but it's also fair on the evaluative side of it to say, man, to do it up front and right then, and then to have that, because when we come together for our evaluation at the end, you're going to have a couple observations, you're going to have a couple walkthrough notes, and then there's just this thing that Simi and I have to do. We have to kind of give it a what for at the end, whether it's effective, highly effective, minimally effective, or not effective. So, yeah. Does that help?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Is that
Cool.
Is there anything you wanted to add?
No,
Ongoing versus gotcha is just
Yeah,
the thing that sticks out in my head overall.
and continuous. I think continuous is a really good word for us to have in the back of our heads. You know, this should be an ongoing conversation and collaboration around it. Yeah. All right, so rubric-wise, everybody's feeling like 110%? Yes? No? Yeah? And again, this is a change. This is a change moving forward for us. So we're going to work through this together this year. But yeah, Kelsey, go ahead, please.
Sorry, with buildings that have more than one administrator, how will we find out who is doing the observations? And if walkthroughs are done by both administrators, are those notes shared?
Yes. And that's where you would find out probably within about the next week or so, in our building at least, because both Todd and I complete the evaluations, and I think
Just me.
just you. You're like the lone wolf here, huh? The Lone Ranger.
No, are you kidding me? I got a team around me. There's like
All right,
40
awesome. But no, in all seriousness, as far as the evaluations and the observations go, Todd will be working with us, and so
But like
we'll be.
either of you can walk through our room and make a note, whether you're the one that's evaluating or not.
Sure, and I think that's where, I mean, you know, I think about it, when we're here with kids, I mean, we're on. We're on, all of us, so, yeah. Yeah.
I was in here today. Steve Edwards walked through. It's the first time I've been here when he's done a walkthrough with me. Guess what's the first thing I thought? What do you think? Right? So I mean, that natural feeling is the same thing. So I asked him for feedback. You know, let me know if there's anything you thought should be changed or improved on. I'm learning too. So I mean, that's part of growing, and I think for me, it's just that's part of the process. Some things I do well, some things I do okay, some things I might not do well, and as I learn what those things are, I want to improve on them.
Guys, what else do you bring with you? And it might not be necessarily relative to the rubric, but any general things that when you woke up this morning, you thought, oh yeah, that's right, I've got that meeting this afternoon. I'm really curious about this, or maybe let's give it some time and take a minute with your table partners, talk some things through, and then we'll open it back up again to some questions. What are some things that might, a colleague would want to have answered before they walk out of here today, just on the overall process? Okay, we'll take a couple minutes.